Dillon Gabriel, rookie quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, stood there, shoulders square, voice confident, eyes locked in, and said the most chaotic sentence a young QB could possibly say in a league still haunted by Brady's shadow. "I see a lot of myself in Tom Brady." Excuse me? Now you already know how this goes. If you're a vet with a Super Bowl ring, it's swagger. If you're a promising starter, it's ambition. If you're a rookie who hasn't played a full game yet, it's a meltdown. A PR nightmare in cleats. And that's exactly what it became. Within hours, every NFL podcast, talking head, and Twitter burner account had latched onto Gabriel's now infamous quote like it was oxygen. But no one lit the match quite like Stephen A. Smith. The man didn't just react. He erupted.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
He didn't say Dillon Gabriel was wrong. He said he was delusional. He didn't question his judgment. He questioned his grasp on reality. You'd think Dillon had claimed he cured cancer and taught LeBron how to dribble, the way Stephen A. went scorched earth on him. And you know what? For once, people weren't mad at Stephen A. for the theatrics. Because the audacity of it all was insane. Tom Brady? The 7-ring, 20-year, unstoppable cyborg of clutch football? The literal blueprint for greatness? You don't compare yourself to him unless you've already made history or lost your mind. And Dillon? He'd barely made a dent in a preseason stat sheet. So now, instead of being remembered as a promising QB fighting for a shot, Dillon Gabriel has been instantly rebranded as that guy who thinks he's Brady. And that label? It sticks. But here's where the drama really kicks in. Because this wasn't just a bad quote. This wasn't just a case of a rookie getting too hyped with a mic in his face. This exposed everything the Browns have been trying to hide for weeks. The internal fractures, the behind-the-scenes debates, the awkward push and pull between ownership and coaching. Because while Gabriel was busy manifesting his inner Brady, there was another quarterback sitting quietly, focused, watching. Shedeur Sanders. No hot takes. No forced comparisons. No need for validation. Just silence and leadership. And that, right there, was the moment the scales tipped. The Browns' coaching staff had been divided from day one. Gabriel had momentum coming out of training camp, sure. He had the arm, the speed, the highlight reel potential. But Shedeur? He had command, the poise, the maturity, the locker room. But then Dillon went rogue with the Brady comment, and suddenly everything changed. What was once a close competition turned into a cultural referendum. And the Browns, a franchise desperate for stability, made the call. Behind closed doors, they made their decision. Gabriel was out. Not cut. Not traded. Not benched, yet. But removed from the spotlight. Stripped of the QB1 in waiting energy he'd been carrying since minicamp. And you could feel it in the building. The shift. The silence. That we're going to reevaluate all options spin from the head coach. Translation? Shedeur Sanders is now the future. And Dillon? He's been unofficially demoted by his own words. Let that sink in for a second. One soundbite. One moment of unchecked bravado. And boom, his entire trajectory just veered off a cliff. Because, in the NFL, perception is power. And Gabriel just rewrote the perception of himself in the worst way possible. Not as an underdog. Not as a fighter. But as a guy too blinded by his own hype to read the room. And the room is cold. You've got veterans in that locker room who've clawed for every yard they ever got. Coaches fighting for their jobs. Executives who bet on Sanders for more than just legacy reasons. And here comes Dillon Gabriel, fresh out of college, comparing himself to the GOAT without even earning a starting nod? Yeah, that doesn't sit right. And if you think the media was harsh, you should have heard the locker room. Okay, no one's quoting players on record, but let's just say the vibe was not rah-rah support. It was side eyes. It was quiet conversations behind closed doors. It was a few veterans reportedly pulling Shedeur aside and saying, "This is your time now." Because while Dillon was performing, Shedeur was preparing. And that contrast? It couldn't be clearer. Where Gabriel went loud, Shedeur stayed low-key. Where Gabriel name-dropped legends, Shedeur leaned into the playbook. He didn't need to say he was a leader. He just acted like one. Every film session, every huddle, every subtle look from coaches, it all added up. And now, the Browns are making moves. Sources say ownership is firmly backing Shedeur. That GM Andrew Berry, still reeling from the Shedeur sidelines debacle, is ready to pivot hard. And the coaching staff? They're divided. Some still believe Gabriel can bounce back. That he was just nervous. That the moment got the better of him. But you know what doesn't bounce back quickly in the NFL? Trust. And right now, Dillon Gabriel is facing the worst kind of trust deficit. His teammates don't know if they can rely on him. The fans don't know if they can believe in him. And the media? Oh, they've already moved on. They're putting Shedeur on preseason QB watch lists, highlighting his maturity, his pro-ready mindset. Gabriel? He's trending, for all the wrong reasons. So what now? Does Dillon issue a heartfelt apology? Does he hold a presser and eat crow in front of the cameras, saying, "Hey, I got ahead of myself. I'm here to work, not talk"? Because, honestly, that's probably his only move right now. Because if he doesn't, if he stays defiant, if he tries to double down on the Brady line, if he treats this like a haters gonna hate moment, he's done. Maybe not cut, maybe not benched yet, but done as a serious contender in that building. Because the NFL has no patience for inflated egos wrapped in rookie uniforms. And Shedeur? He just has to keep doing what he's doing. Be quiet. Be calm. Be ready. Let the storm swirl around Gabriel while he keeps leading walkthroughs. Let the media run the clips while he runs the scout team. Because this is how you take over a franchise without ever throwing a punch, just by letting someone else implode. Shedeur Sanders didn't say a word. And somehow, he just became the Browns' franchise QB. Talk about poetic. This whole saga is bigger than just one press conference gone wrong. It's about narrative control, media power, racial dynamics, leadership identity. Because let's not ignore it. There's a real conversation happening here about who gets labeled confident versus who gets labeled cocky, who gets the benefit of the doubt, who gets scrutinized harder. And in that sense, Gabriel didn't just lose a PR battle. He walked straight into a cultural landmine. And now, he's the cautionary tale. The guy every rookie will hear about during orientation. The don't be that guy. So, if you're keeping score, Dillon Gabriel gets the Jump the Gun Hall of Fame induction for 2025. Stephen A. Smith gets the Sports Media Flamethrower Lifetime Achievement Award. And Shedeur Sanders? He quietly walks away with franchise savior in silence. We don't know how this will end. Maybe Gabriel humbles himself and earns the trust back. Maybe he goes the redemption arc route, works twice as hard, and claws his way back into the conversation. Maybe. Or maybe he just fades. Because in the NFL, sometimes all it takes is one moment, one soundbite, one metaphor too far. And then, you're no longer the guy everyone's rooting for. You're the punchline. So what do you think? Can Gabriel bounce back, or did he just write himself out of the Browns' future with one sentence? Did Stephen A. go too far, or just far enough? And is Shedeur Sanders already the franchise QB, whether the Browns admit it or not? Drop your take in the comments. And if you love the drama, the disasters, and the delicious dysfunction of NFL chaos, hit that subscribe button. Because in this league, reality doesn't just beat fiction, it embarrasses it. Dillon Gabriel still doesn't seem to get it. After the fallout, after the memes, after the scorched earth segment from Stephen A., he showed up to the next team meeting like nothing happened. No apology, no clarification, just that same nervous smile and a nod to the staff like he hadn't just compared himself to a football god and detonated his own reputation in the process. The room? Ice cold. Veterans avoided eye contact. Coaches kept it business only. And Shedeur? He didn't need to say a word. His presence did all the talking. There's this strange energy that takes over a locker room when someone oversteps and doesn't own it. It's not loud. It's not even obvious to an outsider. But it spreads. Slowly, the respect disappears. The confidence evaporates. You go from being a guy people believe in to someone they're just waiting to be replaced. And Gabriel? He's now on minute-by-minute watch. Every missed throw in practice? Scrutinized. Every side conversation with a coach? Interpreted. Every anything he does now carries the weight of, is this guy really who he thinks he is? That's the problem with comparing yourself to greatness before you've done anything. You leave no room for error. Tom Brady didn't start with a bold claim. He started with silence. 6th round silence. Do your job silence. And then, he let the results do the talking. Gabriel did the exact opposite. He talked first. Loudly. Publicly. And now every moment moving forward is under a microscope that he built himself. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders is quietly becoming a case study in how to win a job without ever playing the media game. You think he couldn't have clapped back? Please. Shedeur has the charisma, the platform, and the pedigree to drop a subtle jab and make headlines for days. One cryptic tweet. One Instagram caption. One smirk in the right interview. That's all it would have taken. But he didn't. And that's what made it hurt more. While Gabriel was spiraling, Shedeur was simply existing, unbothered, dialed in, and slowly winning over everyone in that building. The media loves a villain, sure, but they love a hero in the shadows even more. And if you've been paying attention, you can see the narrative shifting. The beat reporters are dropping subtle hints in their coverage. The Browns' official social media is posting a lot more Sanders content lately. And team sources? They're suddenly talking about poise and readiness when his name comes up. That's no accident. That's PR chess. The Browns are preparing the public for what they already know internally. This is Shedeur's team now. And you can bet ownership is behind that shift. Because when a franchise starts leaking that a rookie reminds them of a young Russell Wilson, and it's not the guy who just invoked Tom Brady, that's not subtle. That's a decision. And poor Dillon is just floating, trapped between denial and irrelevance. Now let's talk about why that quote hit so hard. It's not just that Dillon compared himself to a legend. It's that he skipped the journey. He jumped straight to the destination. It's like a freshman walking into law school and saying, I see myself as the next Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You don't get to be the guy just because you say you are. You have to build it. You have to earn it. Every yard, every mistake, every bruised rib and broken play. And that's what made Shedeur's silence so loud. He knows he's got the spotlight. He knows what his name carries. But instead of playing the media game, he's playing the long game. Focused, humble, professional. And it's killing Dillon. Because how do you compete with someone who doesn't need to speak to win? Let's not pretend this didn't get personal behind the scenes, either. Sources say that Shedeur's closest teammates were furious after Gabriel's comment. Not because he praised himself, but because he invoked legacy. A legacy he hadn't earned. You think guys who've watched Shedeur work since camp, day in and day out, don't see the difference? You think they didn't roll their eyes when Gabriel made himself the story? This league runs on respect. And when you lose that, you lose everything. Meanwhile, the front office is doing damage control. Because make no mistake, this isn't just a PR mess. It's a full-blown identity crisis for a franchise that was already on thin ice. You finally draft 2 high-profile quarterbacks. One comes with the swagger of a generational name. The other with a chip on his shoulder and an arm to prove it. But instead of fostering a healthy competition, you've got chaos. And Andrew Berry? He's sweating. Because this isn't just about quarterbacks now. It's about leadership. About trust. About whether or not this front office can actually build a future around the guys they chose. And ownership? They've picked their side. Behind closed doors, the vibe is clear. Shedeur is the plan now. Period. Not just because he's talented, but because he handled the moment. In a media storm, in a locker room on edge, in a week where everything could have gone nuclear. He stayed grounded. That's what wins in the NFL. Not just talent. Not just quotes, but control. And Gabriel? He lost it. So now he's stuck in limbo. No longer the exciting rookie. not yet benched, just hovering. And the only way out is to either humble up and reset, or keep spiraling and hope another team takes a gamble when the Browns inevitably move on. But let's be honest, the NFL isn't a place for second chances when your first chance is this messy. Unless Gabriel pulls off a complete redemption arc, apology tour, practice heroics, a come-to-Jesus film session, he's just going to be another cautionary tale. Another guy who got caught up in his own hype and missed the moment. And Shedeur? He doesn't need the moment. He is the moment. Quietly, consistently, unshakably. This whole saga? It's a reminder of what really matters in this league. Not flash. Not sound bites. Not even raw skill. But composure, maturity, timing. Because talent opens the door. But how you carry yourself, that's what gets you the keys. So to sum it all up, Dillon Gabriel walked into the NFL press cycle and thought confidence alone could carry him. He reached for the Brady mantle and got buried under the weight of his own ego. And now, barring a miracle, he's not just on the bench, he's in danger of vanishing. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders? He said nothing and gained everything. No tantrums, no call-outs, just quiet dominance. And the Browns? They've seen it. The team? They've felt it. The media? They're waking up to it. Pre-draft, Dillon was seen as a solid prospect. Undersized? Sure. But smart, mobile, and confident. A guy who could develop into something interesting with the right coaching and a little patience. No one was expecting miracles, but people saw the potential. Then the Browns surprised everyone and took both Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders in the same draft class. It was bold. It was controversial. But above all, it was confusing. Two quarterbacks. Two strong personalities. Two totally different styles. And for a team that struggled to develop one quarterback in 2 decades, this double dip felt less like a strategy and more like a panic pick. Still, fans were intrigued. The idea was, let them compete. Iron sharpens iron. Best man wins. A quarterback battle. Good, old-fashioned football drama. And for a while, that's exactly what we got. Camp started. Media swarmed. Shedeur took a stoic, team-first approach. Dillon brought the energy. Reporters couldn't get enough. One day it was Shedeur looked sharp with the ones. The next it was Gabriel flashing mobility and swagger. But then came the interview. The quote. I see a lot of myself in Tom Brady. Not, I admire Brady's work ethic. Not, I grew up watching him. Not, I hope to emulate parts of his game. Nope. I see a lot of myself in Tom Brady. And just like that, the house of cards fell. Because let's be honest, it wasn't just what he said. It's who he said it in front of. The entire national sports media landscape, already hungry for drama, already perched on the edge of its seat, waiting to crown Shedeur Sanders, took that quote and ran it into the end zone. The clip hit Twitter in seconds, TikTok in minutes, ESPN segments by lunchtime. And by the time Stephen A. Smith got a hold of it, it was game over. Stephen A. didn't just disagree. He made an example out of Dillon. That this is deeply concerning tone? That fake concerned, is everything okay at home, energy? It was brutal. And yeah, it was funny. But it was also the moment where Dillon Gabriel stopped being taken seriously. In under 24 hours, a guy fighting for a starting job turned himself into a meme. And here's where it gets dark. In the NFL, perception is oxygen. You live and die by how people see you. Fans, teammates, coaches, executives. They don't just evaluate what you do. They evaluate how you carry yourself, what you say, how you lead. And right now, Dillon Gabriel isn't being seen as a leader. He's being seen as a cautionary tale. Because while he was making premature comparisons to the greatest quarterback of all time, Shedeur Sanders was quietly stacking respect from the locker room. You don't think the vets noticed how Shedeur handled himself that week? You don't think coaches talk when one guy stays focused and the other turns a press conference into a TED Talk on delusion? Shedeur's reps started increasing. Quietly, subtly. He started getting more looks with the first team, more time with the play caller, more follow-up questions in the media scrum. All while Dillon's name started appearing in those dreaded phrases. fighting to stay in the mix, trying to earn trust back, hoping to reset the narrative. Let me translate that for you. He's cooked. Now, there is a way out of this. A redemption arc. It's rare, but it exists. But here's the catch. Dillon has to own it. He has to do the hardest thing a professional athlete can do. He has to be humble. He has to go into that next press conference and walk it back. Say, I got excited. I respect Tom Brady and meant it as a compliment. But I haven't earned that comparison yet. I've got a long way to go. Will he say that? Who knows? But if he doesn't, if he tries to double down, if he lets pride take the wheel, then congratulations, he just bought himself a first-class ticket to NFL irrelevance. Because here's what's happening in real time. The Browns are pivoting. Hard. Behind closed doors, they're already shifting strategy. They're reshaping the depth chart. They're lining up reps. They're building the story they wish they'd gone with from the beginning. Shedeur Sanders was the plan all along. It's not true. We all know they were torn. They wanted Dillon to pop. He was lower risk, less media attention, less pressure. But the moment he fumbled the perception battle, that plan went out the window. Now they're full speed ahead on the Shedeur Express. And why not? He's poised. He's polished. He's got the brand and the game. He's NFL royalty, but acts like a walk-on. He's exactly the kind of quarterback you want leading your team through the fog of media firestorms. And Dillon? He's a footnote. Let's call this what it is. A meltdown in slow motion. We're watching a rookie quarterback spiral, not because of a blown assignment or a bad throw, but because of a bad quote. A moment of unchecked confidence that revealed a lack of self-awareness. And once that door to doubt opens in this league, it's nearly impossible to close it again, especially when the guy waiting in the wings is Shedeur freaking Sanders. So here's where we stand. Dillon Gabriel is on thin ice. The next few weeks will determine if he sinks completely or claws his way back to the surface. Shedeur Sanders is quietly becoming the face of the Browns without anyone needing to say it out loud. The Browns organization is scrambling to rewrite their own narrative before the season kicks off. And you're watching the NFL in its purest form. Not touchdowns, not contracts, not even drama for the sake of drama, but a story about ego, timing, humility, and how, in this league, everything can change in the time it takes to say one sentence too many. So now I want to hear from you. Is Dillon Gabriel done for real? Was Stephen A. right to go nuclear, or did he push too hard? Is Shedeur Sanders already the best thing to happen to the Browns since Jim Brown laced up? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Spill your takes. Start the debate. And if you live for these spirals, surprises, and delicious moments of NFL reality TV, go ahead and subscribe. Because trust me, this QB drama, it's only just heating up.